Ladies and gentlemen, the key to transforming your life is not in the circumstances you're given, but in the standards you set for yourself. Many people live their lives in quiet desperation, simply accepting things as they are, hoping for something better to come along. But that's not the way to achieve lasting change. If you want a different life, you need to raise your standards. Your standards define who you are and what you will tolerate in life. They are the invisible walls that either limit or expand your possibilities. Let me tell you this. If you want to live a life of excellence, you need to change your standards. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, life has no choice but to meet you at that level. If your standards are low, your life will reflect that. But when you raise your standards, everything around you will begin to change. It starts with you, with your commitment to not accept mediocrity. It's time to stop settling for average. You deserve more, and it starts by expecting more of yourself. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your standards. If you want more, expect more from yourself. Mediocre people lead mediocre lives. If you accept mediocrity, that's exactly what you'll get. Change your standards, change your life. High standards push you to perform at your best. When you expect greatness, your actions will align with that expectation. If you tolerate bad habits, negativity, or mediocrity in your life, you'll continue to attract those things. Raise your standards and watch your life improve. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens by setting higher standards and being committed to continuous improvement. Discipline is the bridge between your standards and the results you desire. Consistency in your actions is the key to maintaining high standards. Make your standards non-negotiable. The moment you allow yourself to lower your expectations is the moment you start to decline. Your health, finances, relationships, and personal development should all be governed by high standards. Excellence should be your baseline in every area. Your circumstances don't control your standards, you do. Take ownership of your life and set the bar high. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The best version of you begins when you decide to raise your standards and hold yourself accountable. Your standards are the foundation upon which your life is built. They are not just a set of rules you follow, but the invisible guidelines that shape your character, your actions, and ultimately your future. You see, your life today is a direct reflection of the standards you've set for yourself. If you accept mediocrity, mediocrity is what you will get. If you expect excellence, then excellence becomes your reality. Most people underestimate the power of their standards. They think that external circumstances are the key to success, but that's not the case. It's not the economy, your job, or your upbringing that defines your future. It's the standards you live by. Your decisions, your mindset, and the way you approach challenges are all influenced by the standards you've set for yourself. If you want to change the way things are going in your life, it all begins with shifting your internal standards. You must first recognize that you're in control of what you will accept from yourself and from others. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, you start to make choices that align with your highest potential, not your current circumstances. Now, here's the thing. It's easy to accept where you are right now and think that's all life has to offer. But I'm telling you, there's always more. If you settle for the average, you'll stay average. If you raise your standards, you'll begin to see new opportunities open up that you never thought possible. It's about not accepting less than what you're capable of achieving. Most people wait for life to change first, but you have to change your standards first. When you decide that you won't settle for anything less than your very best, everything around you will begin to shift. People will treat you differently, your circumstances will improve, and you'll find yourself growing in ways you never imagined. The path to a life of abundance and fulfillment is paved by the standards you set. Raise them high, and the world will meet you there. Start today, not tomorrow. Your future is waiting, but it begins with the standards you choose to live by. Mediocrity is one of the greatest traps in life. It's the silent killer of dreams and potential. It's the place where so many people find themselves stuck because they've become comfortable with just getting by. They've accepted the status quo and they've stopped striving for something better. But let me tell you something. Mediocrity is not your destiny. It's a choice, and it's a choice you can refuse to make. When you settle for mediocrity, you settle for less than what you're capable of. You stop pushing yourself, stop growing, and stop reaching for new heights. You may not realize it at first, but every time you accept mediocrity, you're telling yourself and the world that you're okay with being less than great. You're telling yourself that you've done enough and that improvement is no longer necessary. And when you accept that, you'll never achieve the greatness that lies within you. Here's the truth. Mediocrity doesn't just happen. It's a gradual decline. It starts with small compromises, a little less effort here, a little less focus there. You might think it's harmless, but those small, everyday choices add up over time, and before you know it, you find yourself stuck in a cycle of good enough. And let me be clear, good enough is never enough when you know that you're capable of greatness. You have within you a fire, a drive, and a potential that can create an extraordinary life. But in order to unleash that potential, you must first refuse to settle. You must refuse to accept the idea that mediocrity is acceptable. You have to make a decision that you will not allow yourself to be average, not in your work, not in your relationships, not in your health, and certainly not in your personal growth. Life is too short to live with regrets. When you settle for mediocrity, you waste the precious time you have, time that could be spent developing your skills, learning new things, and pursuing your goals with passion and purpose, time that could be spent building the life you deserve. If you want to break free from mediocrity, it starts with a mindset shift. You have to make the decision today that you won't settle for anything less than excellence. Excellence doesn't happen by accident. It's a result of setting high standards and striving to meet them every single day. And trust me, when you commit to excellence, you'll see results. You'll see your life transform in ways you never thought possible. So stop settling. Stop accepting mediocrity as your fate. You have the power to create the life you want, but it all starts with a refusal to settle for less than what you're truly capable of. The moment you decide to raise your standards, the moment you refuse to settle for mediocrity, that's the moment your life will begin to change for the better. Setting high expectations for yourself is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your life. It's not just about hoping for success or wishing for things to improve. It's about demanding more from yourself and refusing to settle for anything less than your absolute best. When you set high expectations, you start to hold yourself to a standard that forces you to grow, to learn, and to reach for the highest level of achievement. Most people go through life with low expectations. They hope things will get better, but they don't believe they deserve more or that they can achieve more. But if you want to break free from mediocrity, you have to raise your expectations. If you want to change your life, you have to demand more from yourself than you've ever demanded before. It's not about being perfect. It's about striving for excellence in everything you do. High expectations are the driving force behind personal growth. They push you to go beyond your comfort zone, to learn new skills, and to challenge your own limitations. When you expect more from yourself, you set yourself on a path of continual improvement. You become less willing to accept failure and more willing to take the necessary steps to succeed. You begin to understand that success is not a matter of luck or chance, but a direct result of your commitment to high standards and unwavering effort. When you set high expectations, you start to develop a sense of self-worth that propels you forward. You stop questioning whether you're good enough or capable enough. You know that you're capable of achieving greatness because you've decided that's what you deserve. And when you start to believe in yourself in this way, you begin to see opportunities everywhere. The world begins to respond to the energy you put out, an energy of confidence, ambition, and determination. But it's not just about expecting more from yourself in terms of performance. It's about expecting more in every area of your life, your health, your relationships, your finances. All of these should be governed by high expectations. If you're willing to settle for mediocrity in one area, it will bleed into others. But when you set the bar high in all aspects of your life, everything starts to improve. Your relationships will deepen, your health will improve, and your financial situation will begin to reflect the level of commitment you've made to your own success. The beauty of setting high expectations is that it changes the way you think. It shifts your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as challenges to overcome. High expectations breed confidence, and confidence breeds results. It's a cycle of success that feeds on itself. And here's the most important part. High expectations will never disappoint you. Even if you fall short of your goal, you will have learned so much along the way. You will have grown. You will have pushed yourself to be better than you were yesterday. And that growth will take you further than you ever imagined. So I challenge you today to set higher expectations for yourself. Don't wait for life to hand you success. Create it for yourself by demanding more from yourself than you ever thought possible. Set the bar high and watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined. High expectations are the key to unlocking the future you've always dreamed of. Life has a way of giving you exactly what you allow. The people you surround yourself with, the opportunities you get, and the results you achieve are all a reflection of what you tolerate. If you tolerate excuses, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who make them. If you tolerate laziness, you'll find yourself slipping into habits that steal your potential. But if you refuse to tolerate anything less than excellence, your life will start to reflect that choice. Too often, people wonder why they keep getting the same results year after year. They say they want more, but they continue to accept less. They want financial freedom, but tolerate poor spending habits. They want great relationships, but tolerate disrespect. They want to be in peak physical health, but tolerate skipping workouts and eating junk. What they fail to realize is that life is not giving them what they want. It's giving them what they've allowed. If you want to change the results you're getting, start by looking at what you're putting up with. Every time you let something slide that doesn't align with your highest potential, you lower your standards just a little. And here's the danger. When you tolerate something long enough, it becomes your new normal. You stop questioning it, you stop noticing it, and before you know it, you've settled into a life that is far below what you're capable of. This principle applies to every area of life. If you tolerate negativity, you'll be surrounded by complainers. If you tolerate dishonesty, you'll attract people who can't be trusted. If you tolerate distractions, you'll struggle with focus and discipline. But the moment you decide that you will no longer accept mediocrity, everything starts to change. The people who don't align with your new standards will fade away. New opportunities will appear. You'll begin to move with confidence, knowing that you are in control of what you allow in your life. The key is to set boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. Be firm about what you will and will not accept. Make a commitment that you will no longer tolerate anything that doesn't move you forward. And be prepared. Some people won't like it. They'll question why you've changed. They'll try to pull you back into old habits. But stand firm, because once you stop tolerating less, you start attracting more. Success doesn't come to those who wish for it. It comes to those who demand more from themselves and refuse to accept anything that pulls them away from their goals. The world responds to the energy you put out. If you walk through life accepting whatever comes your way, you'll get what you get. But if you raise your standards and refuse to tolerate anything less than excellence, you'll be amazed at how quickly your life begins to change. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you allow. Raise your standards today and watch as everything around you starts to shift in your favor. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It's not something that just shows up one day like a surprise gift. It's a decision, a conscious choice to become better, to learn more, to push beyond your limits. The unfortunate truth is that most people never make this choice. They go through life on autopilot, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, and getting the same results year after year. They wait for circumstances to change, for opportunities to appear, for someone else to push them forward. But real personal growth doesn't work that way. It starts with a decision, your decision, to take responsibility for your own development. The moment you decide that growth is not optional but essential, everything changes. You start seeing challenges differently. Instead of avoiding difficulties, you embrace them because you know they're part of your development. You stop making excuses and start looking for solutions. You begin to seek out new knowledge, new skills, new ways of thinking, because you understand that the more you grow, the more valuable you become, not just to yourself, but to the world around you. Personal growth is about becoming intentional with your time, your habits, and your mindset. It's about understanding that every day presents a choice to remain the same or to take one step closer to the person you're capable of becoming. And the great news is, it doesn't require big, dramatic changes all at once. Growth happens in the small, consistent decisions. Choosing to read instead of watching mindless entertainment. Choosing to wake up earlier to work on your goals. Choosing to learn from mistakes rather than be discouraged by them. These small choices compound over time and lead to extraordinary results. But make no mistake, personal growth is uncomfortable. It requires you to stretch beyond what's familiar. It forces you to face your weaknesses, to acknowledge where you need improvement, and to put in the effort to change. And that's why so many people avoid it. They'd rather stay in their comfort zone than do the hard work of growing. But here's the truth. Nothing great ever happens in the comfort zone. Growth only comes when you're willing to step outside of what's easy and into what's necessary. And here's the most important part. No one can grow for you. You can have the best mentors, the best books, the best advice in the world, but until you make the decision to apply what you've learned, nothing will change. You have to take ownership of your personal development. You have to commit to getting better, to learning, to stretching yourself beyond where you were yesterday. Because the moment you stop growing is the moment you start declining. So ask yourself, are you making the choice to grow? Are you pushing yourself to become better today than you were yesterday? If not, start now. Read, learn, practice, challenge yourself. Decide that personal growth is not just an option, it's a necessity. Because when you make that decision, you set yourself on a path that leads to success, fulfillment, and a life of unlimited potential. Discipline and consistency. These are the two pillars that separate those who succeed from those who merely wish for success. Talent alone won't get you there. Intelligence alone won't get you there. Even passion, as powerful as it is, won't get you there unless it's backed by discipline and consistency. These two qualities are the secret ingredients behind every great achievement. Without them, dreams remain dreams. But with them, anything is possible. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up early to work on your goals when your body tells you to stay in bed. It's choosing to work out when you'd rather sit on the couch. It's saying no to distractions so you can stay focused on what truly matters. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your results. It's the price you pay for success. And the truth is, most people aren't willing to pay that price. They let their emotions dictate their actions. They wait until they feel motivated before they take action. But successful people don't operate that way. They understand that motivation is temporary, but discipline is dependable. And then there's consistency. If discipline is the engine that moves you forward, consistency is what keeps you on the road. Anyone can be disciplined for a day, a week, or even a month. But the real test is whether you can stay committed for the long haul. Success is not built on one big effort. It's built on small, repeated actions over time. Think about the strongest tree in the forest. It didn't grow overnight. It grew little by little, day after day, because it stayed rooted. That's how consistency works. Too many people give up too soon. They start a new goal with enthusiasm, but when they don't see immediate results, they quit. They go to the gym for 2 weeks, don't see a six-pack, and decide it's not working. They start a business, don't make money in the first month, and walk away. What they fail to realize is that success rewards those who stay the course. The most successful people in any field didn't get there because they were the most talented. They got there because they showed up day after day doing the work when no one was watching. Now here's the real secret. Discipline and consistency are not just about work. They are about character. They shape who you become. When you develop discipline, you build self-respect. You begin to trust yourself because you know you'll follow through on what you say you'll do. And when you stay consistent, you develop momentum. You start seeing progress, and that progress fuels you to keep going. So if you want real change in your life, make discipline a daily practice. Stay consistent even when it feels like nothing is happening, because here's what you'll find. Over time, small actions lead to big results. The road to success isn't walked in giant leaps. It's walked in steady, disciplined steps. Make those steps every single day, and before you know it, you have built a life far beyond what you ever imagined. Your standards are not suggestions, and they are not up for debate. They are the foundation of your life, the invisible boundaries that determine what you accept, how you operate, and ultimately the results you get. The moment you start negotiating with your standards, you begin to compromise your potential. And the danger with compromise is that it never stops at just one thing. It spreads into every area of your life. Think about it. The person who says, "I'll skip my workout just this once," soon finds themselves skipping it every other day. The person who allows a little dishonesty in their business soon finds their reputation damaged. The person who tolerates a little disrespect in a relationship eventually finds themselves trapped in an unhealthy dynamic. Why? Because what you allow, you encourage. What you compromise on today becomes the new standard tomorrow. The most successful people in the world don't operate like that. They don't negotiate their standards. They set the bar high and hold themselves to it no matter what. Their word is law in their own life. If they say they're going to do something, they do it, whether they feel like it or not. If they commit to excellence, they refuse to let laziness or distractions pull them off course. They understand that standards are not just about what you expect from life, but what you demand from yourself. This isn't about perfection. It's about commitment. It's about refusing to settle for anything less than your best. And here's the truth. The world will test you. People will challenge your standards. Situations will arise that tempt you to lower the bar. But every time you stand firm, you reinforce your identity. You send a message to yourself and to the world that your values, your goals, and your integrity are not for sale. You see, when your standards are non-negotiable, your life begins to change. You stop entertaining negative influences. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your vision. You attract better opportunities, better relationships, and better results because you refuse to accept anything less. And the best part? You start to trust yourself on a deeper level. You develop an unshakable confidence because you know you won't let yourself down. So make a decision today. Decide what you stand for. Decide what you will and will not accept. And then hold that line no matter what. Because the moment you make your standards non-negotiable, your life will begin to reflect that choice in ways you never imagined.